I did get a note, which it'd be interesting. I did get a note from somebody. It was one of the things that Golf Channel sends out, all these different video clips and all the rest. And then they'll tag me, right? So some guy writes back on social media, and I'm paraphrasing. He goes, "Are you capable of addressing I forget how we called it. I'll call it the 800-pound gorilla. Are you capable of dressing?" I loved how he said, "Are you capable?" About how expensive golf equipment is. And basically, I'm going to paraphrase now. The rest of it, basically was saying was it's impossible for people to buy golf equipment. And I thought, it's my show. I can talk about whatever I want. I mean, am I capable? Maybe I'm not, but I can. And I thought to myself, this is the PGA show is an industry show. These are industry professionals that are there, the buyers, et cetera, et cetera. So it's no different than, I just thought off the top of my head, say like the auto shows, like the Detroit Auto Show where they're showing you the latest and the greatest. Right? And when you walk in there, you're going to have the premium automobiles. It's no different than restaurants. You want to go to the steakhouse where you pay an obscene amount of money for your New York strip or your ribeye? You can find them. You want to go to a place that suits your taste or your vibe or your budget? Okay. You should do that too, right? We all should. I don't know about you guys, but I don't actually prefer the real fancy dancy like steakhouses. I'll go to those maybe once or twice in an entire year. Because it's just, I love food, and I really can't find a discernible enough difference between a steak that they charge you $125 for and one that costs you $30 or $25 or whatever. But what I'm saying is that the so-called elephant in the room, like these companies have an obligation to price their products so they are within reach of everyone, would be a fallacy. I mean, we're a free market society, aren't we? If that is too rich for your blood, if the guy had asked me, how do I spend within my budget frame, my answer would be, instead of criticizing what these people are charging, they're charging what people are willing to pay. I mean, as harsh as that is to some. Here's the reality. If you can't afford it, you don't want to afford it, you don't want to spend that kind of dough, I respect that. What's your budget? Let's say it's $200 for a driver. It may be less than that. And it's your thing, so I can't peg it. But let's say it's $200. You may not get the new version. You may go on to one of those sites that's selling product that's been used, that somebody doesn't want anymore. But I guarantee you, if you go on to the manufacturer's websites, if you go on to or into your local golf shops, you're going to find product that somebody has traded in or that golf shop is trying to clear out to make room for the new. And you're going to be able to get something that's probably very different, very new technology compared to what you're currently playing. Maybe it's not the technology that is the latest and the greatest from the big names. But again, we're trying to match up what your capabilities are. Now, having said that, if you look at someone like our friends at Ben Hogan, who Simon was on with us, benhogangolf.com, that's a direct-to-consumer business. You can save a considerable amount of money, and now you are getting the latest and the greatest under that brand. PXG, for example, they're constantly staying on top of their inventory. For a manufacturer, any type of business, golf or otherwise, the thing that drags those businesses down are the bins of old equipment, because you're coming out with your product cycle of new product, the latest and the greatest. And you don't want to be sitting on those old clubs. So PXG, as you guys know, for all the reputation PXG has of building the best and being premium, and with premium comes price, they're very aggressive at clearing inventory. And as a result, you can get some great, great deals. pxg.com. So all I'm saying is, I don't know whether this defines a capability to talk about it or not, but all I'm saying is that you can find new product to hit your price point, but that new product is no different than shopping for any other consumer product, from cars to restaurants. What you get is going to be consummate with what you can do. You still can get brilliant, new or near new product at prices that are closer to suiting whatever your particular budget is. After that, if you want the latest and the greatest from the big names, and that's out of reach for you, I just don't see how there's grounds to complain that they haven't set their pricing so it's within reach of everyone. Right? Does that make sense, Dom, what I just said there?
Of course it makes sense. If you want to buy a new car, there's 1,000 ways to do it. You can get one for dirt cheap, or you can spend $1 bajillion.
But what I don't get is the mentality that somebody says, what's a fancy car? A Lexus. Which is why I can't, when are you going to talk about the fact that these Lexuses are expensive cars? What?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's your point. So of course they're expensive, but you can also buy a 10-year-old Honda.
You could, but I won't even recommend buying a 10-year-old Honda.
50,000 miles on it, whatever, and you can get it for a fraction of the cost.
I got at the end of last year, I bought a 24 pickup. I got such a deal on it because I waited till the end of the year. There was manufacturer incentives. I traded in my old truck, which they gave me entirely too much for, which I know that people that know cars out there are like, they didn't give you too much. I knew exactly what they were doing. I get it. So all I'm saying is there's different ways that you can go about it so it suits whatever your particular needs are.